Boy, does it ever feel like the end of May as it's hot and humid in central Ontario, which only means we're days away from the 2024 CHL Memorial Cup. Of course, it's being held in Saginaw, Michigan. The first time the Memorial Cup is being held outside of Canada since 1998. The Portland Winterhawks, the last team to host the Memorial Cup as a US based team. So, a lot of excitement building in Saginaw. The Memorial Cup trophy set to arrive tomorrow, and then the first game will be on Friday night as the host Saginaw Spirit take on the Moose Jaw Warriors. So I typically cover the Ontario Hockey League. I'm the play-by-play voice of the Barrie Colts, so I don't usually follow what goes on too much in the Quebec Maritime Junior Hockey League and the Western Hockey League. But I wanted to do a bit of a preview to get fans ready for the upcoming tournament. Maybe you're not familiar with either the OHL teams if you're tuning in from one of the other leagues, or if you're not too familiar with the Moose Jaw Warriors or the Drummondville Voltigeurs, I thought I'd do a bit of a preview just to get you ready for the tournament because this is an exciting time. I've been to the Memorial Cup when it was in Kitchener back in 2008 as a spectator, and it is a ton of fun, definitely worth the trip. And if you are making your way to Saginaw, enjoy the tournament. The atmosphere is going to be a lot of fun. I know they put in a lot of renovation works into the Dow Event Center to get it ready, and the whole community of Saginaw ready for junior hockey fans to arrive this weekend for the week-long tournament that's about to get underway. So let's dive right into the preview. We're going to start off with the host, the Saginaw Spirit. This is the very first time Saginaw will appear at the Memorial Cup. Unless you go back to their previous history as the North Bay Centennials, they were there in 1994. And in that tournament in Laval, Quebec, the Centennials placed fourth in the Memorial Cup. So Saginaw looking to maybe do a little better than what the Centennials did back 30 years ago. Hard to believe that was already 30 years. The Saginaw Spirit, they did load up at the OHL trade deadline as the goal for this team was to enter the tournament as the OHL champs. However, they fell short in the Western Conference Final against London Knights, where they lost in 6 games, but still, this is a very talented Saginaw Spirit team. They should be a force to reckon with at this tournament. It is a round-robin style, so if you get those wins, you get the points, who knows what could happen at junior hockey's most challenging tournament as it gets ready to take place. The top 5 scorers for Saginaw: Robin Donizio led the way in the playoffs, 5 goals, 12 assists, 17 points. Donizio, of course, just signing his NHL entry-level contract with the Anaheim Ducks. Then you have Calum Mangoni. He was second in scoring in the playoffs, 7 goals, 7 assists, 14 points. Owen Beck, who has Memorial Cup experience, he ended up with 4 goals, 10 assists, 14 points. He was with the Peterborough Petes last season as the Memorial Cup was held in Kamloops, so he's making back-to-back appearances at the Memorial Cup. Hunter Haight, the former Barrie Colt, 9 goals, 4 assists, 13 points in the postseason. And there was a 3-way tie for 5th in scoring with 4 goals, 7 assists. That includes Josh Bloom, Michael Misa, and Joey Willis. So some good depth on this Saginaw Spirit team. Goaltending might be a bit of a question mark because Nolan Lalonde got the bulk of the games in the playoffs. He had a record of 5-7, a 2.79 goals against average, and an .893 save percentage. He ended up coming in relief of Andrew Oak, who was injured in Game 2 of the second round against Sault Ste. Marie. Oak had a record of 5-0 before that injury, a 1.83 goals against average, and a .938 save percentage. No official word on whether or not Oak will play Friday night against Moose Jaw. If Saginaw can get Oak in the lineup, I feel like that would be a huge factor for this team as they look to compete for the championship. For the schedule, Saginaw, of course, they open the tournament Friday night. They're the host against the Moose Jaw Warriors. Then on Sunday, they play Drummondville and wrap up the round robin against London on Wednesday. Next up, the London Knights. They come in as the OHL champs. This is the 6th time London has appeared at the Memorial Cup. Their last appearance, that was in 2016 in Red Deer, Alberta, and they ended up winning the championship against the Rouyn-Noranda Huskies. So the Knights, they did cap off a very dominant season. They swept the Oshawa Generals in the OHL final, and they only suffered 2 losses along the way. And both those losses came against Saginaw in the conference final. So a worthy opponent, I feel, Saginaw and London. I think that game on the Wednesday to wrap up the round robin will have a bit of intensity before the playoff portion of the Memorial Cup. For this London Knights team, they are deep. They can play almost any style. They do get Landon Sim and Caleb Lawrence back, who both served 5-game suspensions to wrap up the playoffs. They didn't appear in the OHL final, so Landon Sim and Caleb Lawrence, expect them to be factors in the Memorial Cup. The top 5 scorers in the playoffs, Easton Cowan led the way, 10 goals, 24 assists, 34 points. He was the playoff MVP for the London Knights, and he'll look to continue that. Of course, he's a Toronto Maple Leafs prospect, so a lot of Leaf fans will be paying close attention to this tournament. Denver Barkey, second in scoring, 6 goals, 21 assists, 27 points. Kasper Halttunen, 17 goals, 9 assists, 26 points. He had a couple of hat tricks in the playoffs too. So Halttunen, a San Jose Sharks prospect who's looking to make his mark at the Memorial Cup. Then you got Max McHugh, 3 goals, 19 assists, 22 points. And rounding out the top 5, Jacob Julian with 9 goals, 9 assists, 18 points. In net, Michael Simpson, he had a record of 15-2, a 2.59 goals against average, and a 908 save percentage. He is got quite the resume, winning championships in back-to-back years, last season with Peterborough and now with London. So just like Owen Beck, Simpson making another appearance at the Memorial Cup. Backing him up, Owen Wilmore, record of 1-0 in the playoffs. He came in relief in the double overtime win in the OHL final against Oshawa. He has goals against of .87 and a save percentage of .966. So if he is put in net, he is more than capable of filling in for Michael Simpson based on those numbers. For London, they open the Memorial Cup Saturday against Drummondville, and then they play Moose Jaw on Monday and wrap up the round robin against Saginaw next Wednesday. And our QMJHL champs, the Drummondville Voltigeurs. Drummondville, this is their 4th trip to the Memorial Cup. Their last appearance was back in 2009, where they were semifinalists at the tournament in Rimouski. The Volts, they completed the series sweep of the Baie-Comeau Drakkar, and they only suffered 3 losses during the playoffs. So this is a team that's got a lot of jump in their step, some good spark, and goaltending, I think, is going to be key for Drummondville going into the Memorial Cup. Their top 5 scorers, Ethan Gauthier, 14 goals, 11 assists, 25 points. He was outstanding in the playoffs. Luke Woodworth, 7 goals, 17 assists, 24 points. Mikael Huchette, he had 4 goals, 16 assists, 20 points. Alexis Gendron, 11 goals, 8 assists, 19 points. And Sam Oliver, 9 goals, 8 assists, 17 points. So this is a team that can score in bunches. And in net, Riley Mercer, he played in all the playoff games for Drummondville. 16-3 was his record, 1.89 goals against, and a .934 save percentage. So Mercer might be one of the challengers for goaltender of the tournament with those numbers, as he looks to give Drummondville a chance to win the Memorial Cup. For the Voltigeurs, they open the Memorial Cup Saturday against London. They play Sunday against the host Saginaw Spirit, and then Tuesday against Moose Jaw. The Moose Jaw Warriors, they're going to come in as your WHL champs. After 40 years in Moose Jaw, the Warriors WHL champs for the first time, and they make their very first trip to the Memorial Cup in franchise history, so exciting stuff for them. The Warriors completed the series sweep of the Portland Winterhawks, and to win the title, it was a dramatic Eastern Conference final against the Saskatoon Blades. 6 of the 7 games went to overtime, which is a league record. They've never seen that in the playoffs before. And of course, Game 7 won in overtime by the Warriors to advance to the WHL final to play Portland. Your top 5 scorers with the Warriors, Jaeger Furcus, 14 goals, 18 assists, 32 points. Denton Matejchuk, 11 goals, 19 assists, 30 points. Braden Yeager, 3rd in scoring with 11 goals, 16 assists, 27 points. Matthew Savoie, very familiar name, 10 goals, 14 assists, good for 24 points on the season or in the playoffs. And then Atlee Culvert, 5th in scoring in the playoffs with 8 goals, 12 assists, 20 points. So Savoie, he was a part of a blockbuster trade right before the WHL trade deadline where Moose Jaw gave up 7 draft picks to the Wenatchee Wild. And that included 2 first-round picks in 2024 and 2027. It is the wild, wild west when it comes to trades. And that's a huge difference between the WHL and the OHL. Because in the Western Hockey League, you can trade your first-round picks. In the OHL, you are not permitted to trade your first-round picks. The highest you can trade is your second. So that just goes to show some of the differences between the leagues. And then, of course, in the Quebec League, there's no fighting. Fighting's been banned, whereas in the OHL, there's the 3-fight cap, and in the Western Hockey League, to my understanding, no fight cap. So that's where the Memorial Cup can get really interesting because each league has something a little different. And the trade there for Savoie is just one of those examples. In net, Jackson Unger, record of 16-3 at a 2.90 goals against average and a 910 save percentage. And backing him up, Dimitri Fortin, 0-1 record, a 2.12 goals against and a 939 save percentage. So Moose Jaw, they open the Memorial Cup Friday against Saginaw. Monday, they play London, and then they wrap up the round robin on Tuesday against Drummondville. So the Memorial Cup, always a fun tournament to follow when you have league champions battling it out. The QMJHL, they have won the last 4 Memorial Cups, which is a league record. So we'll see if the Drummondville Voltigeurs will extend it to 5 consecutive Memorial Cups for the Q, or maybe the OHL. They'll see their first champion since Windsor did it back in 2017, or Edmonton, the Oil Kings, the last WHL team to win the Memorial Cup. That was back in 2014. So it's going to be a ton of fun. I had hoped to go to Saginaw to catch the Memorial Cup, but things didn't work out that way. I have a full-time job and couldn't get the time off, so I'll be covering it from Barrie. I'll see how many videos I do along the way. Like I said, I primarily cover the Ontario Hockey League, but I wanted to do a preview video just to get things ready. And that's how I see it from the booth. Let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on the upcoming Memorial Cup. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you again soon.